is Sarah, and I'm an English Open Source Program volunteer. I studied anthropology and Spanish, so I have a bachelor's in each one of those. So I graduated in December of 2014, worked a job, saved up some money, and then decided to come to Chile. I was volunteering for the entire school year, so I started in April and I just finished here in November. I was placed in Osorno, which is in the Lakes region, the Región de los Lagos. Osorno is a kind of smaller city. It's maybe about 200,000 people, but it's definitely pretty quiet. Rains a lot during the winter, so everyone's very warm and friendly there. I was looking for a program to teach English abroad. I definitely wanted to. I was thinking about starting teaching as my career and thought it would be a good way to jump in, but I wasn't sure where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. And I saw that a lot of the programs were fee-based, and I didn't want to do something that was fee-based, and I also wanted to feel like I was making a difference, and I wasn't just on vacation, because I don't look at this as a vacation. I look at it as a way to try to make a difference in other people's lives and jump my life going a little bit faster. So I ended up seeing that the program was no fee and that it was working in municipal schools that were vulnerable schools, and it seemed like a perfect fit for what I wanted to do. I don't think my expectations could ever fully realize the way the program changed my life. So when I thought about what I was going to get out of this, I thought I'd learn to teach, I'd make a difference in some kids' lives, I'd meet new people, I'd grow as a person, and all those things happened, but more than anything, it was just such an overwhelmingly experience that I couldn't possibly have my expectations meet with the way that reality was. The reason that I chose to do this program also was because of the support from the NVC volunteers and the staff center. So I wasn't sure, I felt kind of wary about doing a program in another country because I didn't want to be out by myself. I wanted to have some sort of thing, if something went wrong, to be able to talk to someone about it and to have a little bit of training at the beginning because I hadn't taught before doing this program coming right out of the university. So having the orientation beforehand, teaching me how to teach was a really great thing. And then during the program I definitely had a couple of roadblocks, sometimes with classroom management, some other things that I needed to contact the NVC's staff, and they really helped me out. So in those moments when I was not really sure of myself, not sure what I was doing, I definitely had the center to be able to talk to. I would say that the training was wonderful, and I really enjoyed the training because it got me used to being in front of a group of people. I learned how to teach, I learned how to talk slowly, I learned all these different valuable skills that I didn't know it yet, but would be extremely important in the classroom. I think that the training made it possible for me to be a teacher, and without it, I would have been stumbling for the first couple months at least. I lived with a grandmother named Marietta, and then her grandson, and he is about 15 or 16 years old. And then we also had a very big extended family that lived just down the street. So they were over for most dinners, they stayed most weekends over, and so there was also my host sister, who's in her 30s, a host brother who's in his 30s, and then my host sister's children, who are 10 years old now, he just had his birthday, and then a 2-year-old. So it was a full family. I've never lived with a lot of family before because I have a very small family in the US. So I'd never really experienced having innumerable tias and tios, uncles and aunts coming over and having little children around. I'd never lived with children before. So it was really great for me to have such like a warm family environment and to have lunches and have everyone come down for lunch and to always have someone to hang out with. It was really wonderful for me. So I don't know how many people came over, and I asked who they were, and they're like, oh, it's Tio Jose, oh, it's like Tia Roberta, and I have no idea who these people are, and I don't know if they're actually related to this day. I actually started playing on a municipal soccer team. So I was looking for a way to get some exercise and to do something with my free time, and I was walking by the park one day and I saw a team playing, a women's team, and so I went up to one of the women and I was like, hey, are you looking for more players? I'd really love to start. And they ended up being some of my best friends in the city. So they're actually from the Campo, from outside of the city. So on weekends I'd go out to their house and we'd do dances and we'd hang out, and we had big old like dinners. They had a going away party, which was really cute, and I played the games with them, and it was a lot of fun because I don't think they'd ever met a foreigner before, so it was a lot of like, ooh, la gringa, la gringuita, and I was like, okay guys, it was a lot of fun. I would say I value most their kindness. There's a lot of things that you don't see in the US that in Chile happen. So if you get sick, everyone wants to know exactly what happened and how they can make you feel better. And everybody has a remedy, like, oh, you weren't wearing a scarf. Oh, you drank cold water. Like, there's always a reason for everything. But it's always out of love of them wanting you to be well and wanting you to be healthy. And then that they always want to talk to you. And like when I went away, like my going away, one of my family friends, they brought over like a lemon pie, and I thought we were gonna have once together, and I was like, oh, are we gonna have once? And they're like, no, we just wanna give this to you. And it was like 2 hours before my bus, I had an entire lemon pie, and I was like, I don't know how to eat this whole thing. And that was like a perfect example for me of all of the South and the way that everyone treats you so warmly. It's definitely an interesting experience, not something that I've ever had the chance to do before, and different people than I've ever interacted with before in the US. I would say more than anything, the kids surprised me. I knew they were going to be great, and I knew that I was going to love them, but I didn't know how much, and I didn't know the reasons why. Looking back on it, it was in a public school, right? So it was a technical school. And so I had medio, and it was almost all boys. So for a class of 30 people, I'd have 2 or 3 girls, and the rest would all be guys, which created a very interesting dynamic in the classroom. And they're definitely witty, they definitely have little smart moments, and just the kind of back and forth in the classroom was really great. The discipline in Chile was different than I imagined, so that was a little bit hard to adjust to. Moments when the kids were acting in ways that I didn't think they should, and I'd never seen before in my high school. So I think when I came into it, I pictured my high school, but a Chilean version, but it's not at all the same thing. So I think that was a big lesson for me. For me, it's kind of hard to place it within the greater perspective of the whole reform, because I just think of my kids' faces when I think about my time there. I don't think about the difference for everyone. I think about how my kids' lives changed. I'm gonna get teary talking about it. So when I first started teaching, I'd say, hi, how are you in the halls? And they'd go like this and they'd run. They wouldn't say a single word. They were just scared. They'd never met someone that was not from their town before, not from the southern part of Chile. And then by the end, it was like, hi, how are you? Oh, today is Tuesday. Good job. The most challenging part for me was classroom management, for sure. Because I never taught before, I didn't really know what to expect with classroom management. And I thought classroom management would be like, oh, there's somebody talking in the back, they need to be quiet. But with the U-shape, there's no back, so they can't get away with that. But that doesn't stop them from punching each other if they usually punch each other. And that doesn't stop them from starting rapping in the middle of class, things that you just wouldn't quite expect from the US classrooms. Because you think of your high school experience in the US, and you think of maybe someone didn't do their homework and they're in trouble. And you think of Chile, and they don't have any homework. They've never had any homework. And they're allowed to punch each other in the classroom. And they get up in the middle of the classroom and walk wherever they want to. And it's all these things that I'm just not quite used to. So for everyone else in the school, it's normal. It's not a big deal. But when I first started teaching, it seemed like the end of the world. And I actually ended up calling the NBC, or I think you guys called me to check up on me, and I was talking to Sandra, I think, on the phone, and I was like, my kids punched each other today, and I just don't know what to do, and it was like the end of the whole world. But you guys talked me through it, and you're like, it's okay, it's not gonna all end. Maybe just keep a closer eye on them. So yeah, but that was really hard at first, just because I couldn't imagine that they were gonna act that way. There's so many moments I'm having a hard time deciding on one to share with you. Probably their expressions on their faces after the end of a good class, because they'd come in at the beginning of class and be like, oh, I don't want to be in school, I don't want to do this, I don't like class, can't I just sleep? What do you mean I can't sleep in class? Do I have to participate? And then you get to the end of class and they're smiling, they're laughing, they tell you they don't want to go to the next class because they had so much fun in yours. And it's just a really rewarding moment of making someone's day a little bit brighter. So. Personally, it taught me to be a lot more flexible and a lot more patient than I ever realized. I think it takes a lot of patience to work with kids in a vulnerable school because the students haven't had the same background as I have, and so I had to be a lot more patient with my expectations and with how I thought everything should work in the school, not just when classes should start, whether they start on time or they start late, or how I should interact with my other colleagues, but just everything. I had to be more patient and more flexible. So personally, I think I learned to slow down. Osorno is very calm and quiet. On a Sunday, nothing's open. So you wake up in the morning at like 10 and you hang out with your family and you eat lunch, and lunch lasts like 4 hours. And then you eat once, and once lasts a couple hours, and maybe you watch a telenovela and you go to bed, and that's your Sunday. And I'd never really done that before. I'm always like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go do this adventure, and we're gonna go here, do this. And instead it was just like, oh, okay, deep breath. So I was learning to quiet myself down a little bit. Professionally, I learned that teaching is definitely a lot harder than I realized it would be. I think I should go back and thank my high school teachers. I don't think I realized how much we made their life difficult. But I think my favorite part would be, let me think, probably when my students were saying goodbye. I don't think I realized how much of a difference I made. I think I was like, I didn't do anything, like, whatever. This was like, it was a good program, I learned a lot, a couple kids cared. And then I left and everyone was so sad too, and it wasn't just me, and I was crying and they were crying. I'm gonna cry again. So I think more than anything that my favorite part was basically just their smiles. The biggest lesson? The biggest lesson would be not only to be patient with other people, but also to be patient with myself. Because I think I was like, I can be patient with other people because everyone has their own thing and their own reason, but I didn't allow myself the same flexibility to change and to grow and to adapt to new circumstances. So, and I actually ended up getting sick while I was in the South, and I just wanted to be better, and I just wanted to go back and teach and start my life up again. And then I realized that I needed to slow down and be patient with myself, and then I could go back to doing my normal life. So. I actually got a job working at an English institute in Santiago. So I'm going to be sticking around in Santiago, I'm not sure how long, teaching English to business adults. It'll be quite different, very, very different, but I'm looking forward to being able to stay in the country for a while and seeing what other parts of the field of teaching English have to offer. And I think that the reason that I could do that is because the experience I gained teaching in Osorno kind of allowed me to start down this path. So we'll see what happens. I would say that in my case, if you're out of college and you're kind of floundering and you don't really know what to do, it's definitely a program that will change your life. And it might not give you the direction you expected, but it'll give you some sort of direction into new things and new ways to live and new ways to experience the world. So I would say that if you're not sure and you're leading your normal life day to day and it seems like something's missing, then you might as well jump in and give something new a try.